there's one thing I'd like to address when it comes to the Yakuza series. A little bit of a rant on the series. This is my 4th game. I play the RPGs, both of them, which are basically Yakuza 7 and 8, the ones with Ichiban Kasuga. And then I played Kiwami, which is a remake, and now I'm playing 0. So I'm near the end, right? But I have one rant. One little observation about the series that I want to get off my chest. Okay? I understand that these games are fiction, but the way I see it, these games aren't fantasy. Because there's no magic powers, there's no, like, superpowers, nothing of the sort. But what I've been observing since the very first one that I played was that they have these really die-hard lethal weapon, super over-the-top exaggerated situations that happen, that make no fucking sense. And like I said, I know these are video games, they're fiction, and that's their style, to have things like that. But sometimes when I get confused because sometimes we get these really realistic situations and it makes sense, right? But other situations, oh, that's fine. Something unrealistic and completely impossible, that's alright, we can leave that. But for this particular scene, oh no, we gotta be realistic with that. So it creates these kind of inconsistencies within the series. All of them, every single one of them has this problem, and I can guarantee, I haven't played the others, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I'm pretty sure nothing changed. So what I mean to say is that, and it's nothing to do with the story. Just let me give you an example. I don't know. They beat in the chapter that I'm playing, a few fucking people beat the shit out of my character, Goro Majima. They beat the shit out of him. So the developers thought it was important to show his scars, like the scars, right? And he goes around the street, with the scars on his face. So that was important. He's kind of like, okay, I took a beat in the face, but he seems to be miraculously alright. Some fucking dude kicked him in the face. But he gets up and goes around. So, okay, on the realistic side of things, I guess it was important because it makes sense. Someone beats the shit out of you. You can have scars, right? But how can you just walk around and fight like nothing? That's not humanely possible. What is Goro Majima? A superhero? Fucking Goku? No, he isn't. And he's an even worse example. An even far worse. What I just gave you, this example I just gave you, that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. I'm gonna go rock bottom right now. Okay? So, at one point, sorry for the spoiler, but this happens often in the Yakuza series, so it's not really a spoiler. If you play the series, you've seen this, or if you haven't, you'll see this a lot. So Kiryu, the protagonist, gets shot in the shoulder and in the leg. Shot! A real fucking gun. And you know what happens? Well, someone takes care of him in a bed, They heal him. Put bandages all over him, Maybe we didn't see this, but maybe somebody took the bullets out if they were stuck. Or maybe they went clean, I don't know what happened. They never told you that. But 3 hours later, he's out in the fucking street. And they tell you that 3 hours after this, He's back on the street with no scars. You don't see a scar on the shoulder or on the leg. And he's walking just fine and beating the shit out of tough enemies. I thought these fucking games were about reality. They're more realistic and there wasn't any fantasy. Dude, even in games, even in fantasy games, when that happens, the fucking characters spend like 3 days recovering. Like it's been like 3 days later, right? Not 3 fucking hours. What the fuck? So, I don't know, man. It didn't bother me before because I was like, oh, it's a video game. I'm not going to take it seriously. It's just whatever, right? But it kept happening over and over again. And what pisses me off is not that. It's the fact that some things, they do take them seriously. Oh, the guy got knocked down. Oh, he can't get up for the rest of the day. Oh, we need to get him to a hospital. Because that's realistic. But then on the next scene, you know, Kiryu gets shot like 10,000 bullets and 3 hours later he's just fine. You know, no scars anywhere. He's just beating the shit out of fucking thugs on the streets. No problem. So that's my rant on the Yakuza series. I'm fucking loving the Yakuza series, and going back, you know, it's just a video game. It's not to be taken that seriously, but it's just something that I needed to get off my chest. It's like fucking stupid, man. That makes no sense. If you either you go realistic for the game or you just don't. Might as well at this point put fucking magic in them. Oh well, wait a minute. They do have some kind of magic. These auras. You can change stances and you can see the blue aura. You know, and they do these super powerful moves, and the enemies take them, you know. With Majima, there's a special attack, you know, you just hit someone with the bat to knock them down, and then he swings the bat in their faces, full power. No one should be able to survive. That's instant death, you know. But no, the guys are just like, after that, you know, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna mess with you, and again, no scars on their faces. They're like, I'm sorry, you know, like, sure. Not even Dragon Ball does that, man. So, I guess it's part of its charm, right? These super over-the-top, exaggerated situations that are super impossible, super unrealistic, I guess that's part of the series. So, okay. I like it, but at the same time, you know, it gives me like OCD. Like, it makes no sense that some other scenes are like taken seriously and realistic, you know? But others like these are like, these fucking guys are Superman. Fucking Goku, man. Jesus Christ. Playing this one of Covenant. Why can't there be more Gothic JRPGs? Probably because Gothic has never really been a part of Japan's culture. They just pretend with Gothic lolitas, you know, and Gothic bands, but they don't understand the true meaning of a goth. Or maybe they have their own definition of that, you know, but I agree with you, but I don't think Gothic culture is like a part of Japanese culture, which is why we rarely see any Gothic games, Gothic JRPGs, you know. Or maybe they just don't think they are appealing enough, because there's barely been any successful Gothic JRPGs since the beginning, you know. Shadow Hearts was a failure. The entire trilogy and Kudelka, they failed, commercial failures, you know. Code Vein was successful, it sold over 2 million copies worldwide. That's a Gothic JRPG, but that's a 2019 game, right? Bloodborne, but Bloodborne, well, yeah, okay, Bloodborne, but that's also a 2018, 2017 game, right? So maybe we will see more. There's Eternal Poison, you know. Anyway, so yeah, we should have gotten more back in the day. Nowadays there's a little bit more Gothic JRPGs, but it's rare. 2015, thanks. But the problem with Bloodborne is that a lot of people don't see it as a JRPG. It doesn't have anime style, it's a Souls game, you know, so it's that one game, right? I think the person who was at Tenbones was asking more about, you know, like Japanese anime style Gothic RPGs like Shadow Hearts, Code Vein, you know, stuff like that. Kudelka, Eternal Poison, you know that. Let's see what happens in today's Versus episode. We got Trials of Mana Remake. Remake! Not the original, just the remake. Versus the first Atelier Ryza. Not the trilogy, just the first Atelier Ryza. Okay? I've been wanting to do this for a while. People finally convinced me last Sunday to do this Versus episode. So that's what we're gonna do today. It's finally happening. All of you Atelier Ryza diehard fans of thickness, you know? It's finally happening. You can finally vote. Smiling Dog says, I'm gonna say this one. As a fan of Mana series, I love this game, both the original and the remake, and that's because of its great combat system, an okay soundtrack, and recognizable characters. Okay, good to know. That's your argument, Fieries? Okay, he says Atelier Ryza is more cozy. More of a cozy game. Yeah, and of course it's turn-based, which is better. Fine, I respect that. JA says, Trials of Mana. They took a great game and updated it really well. The combat is fun, the character progression and customization is addictive, and the art style is pleasant. That's right. Especially Angela. Cross says Trials of Mana wins. You can select different main characters, which changes the origin and the villains of the story. Not sure why you wouldn't pick Angela, but you do you. So that's one good reason. The multiple protagonists feature. In Ryza, you just Ryza. Jesus Christ. 50-50 again. Oh, I was gonna end it. Come on. Who voted? Ah, shit. Come on. What the hell, man? Okay, there it's over. There we go. The poll is over, and I cannot believe my eyes. The poll was tied for a long time, but by some miracle, Atelier Ryza won with 51%. Trials of Mana lost with 49%. Trials of Mana was winning for the first half of it, but then Ryza came along, and everybody's angry now. Oh, come on. Blame that one person who voted for Ryza at the end. My pick is Trials of Mana. I wouldn't say it wins by a landslide, but I wouldn't say it wins by a hair. I think I genuinely like Trials of Mana more than Atelier Ryza. Not because it's an action RPG. If we start comparing the battle mechanics of both, I prefer Ryza, but it's also kind of like real-time and more stressful. Whereas in Trials of Mana, you got these like kind of wacky, somewhat, depending on who you pick, you know, you got these weird controls, you know, it's not the best hack and slash. The battle system in Trials of Mana is very technical, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not the biggest fan of either battle system, but I like them, you know, I pulled through and I enjoyed both, but there's just no way I can decide which one has battle mechanics, you know. I think it's a time battle systems because they're good. Both battle systems, but they come with problems that make them a little bit frustrating for me. Okay, in terms of story, I think Trials of Mana has a bare bones story because it's not really the focus of it, and it only focuses on your main character. And sure, you can watch the episodes of your two party members, especially in this remake. That's a new feature which made the story more rich, you know. But Ryza has this more character development, you know, strong traditional storytelling and narrative, so it should win for that, right? But I think I'm gonna stick with this plot in Trials of Mana. But to be honest, it's like a tie again, like the battle systems. Like both have decent stories, but with problems and things and themes that I don't really care about. You know, they're kind of like, I don't know. Neither game has like a great, outstanding story, to be honest. Graphics, I think both games look beautiful, and I think Ryza has objectively the better graphics. But since I like Angela a bit more, so Metal Max, don't get jealous, you'll get your episode. I don't know, I think Ryza has better graphics. But I like the graphics in Trials of Mana a bit more. I just like them more. And it's just, man, Angela. If we're comparing the waifus, you know, I like Angela more. I'm sorry, I'm an Angela guy. I fucking love Angela. She's one of the sexiest characters I've seen in my life. Ryza and her fucking fat ass thighs can kiss my ass, man. Anyway, gameplay mechanics, I think I like both almost as equal. You know, Ryza is a bit more traditional. You go around town, you know, in a big huge town, and then you got your addictive mechanics and blah blah blah, you know. But Trials of Mana is more like classic JRPG style, you know. You go from town to town, overworld, different areas, different dungeons and shit, you know, and yeah, you do the same in Ryza, but I don't know, I think I like Trials of Mana, probably because I grew up in the 90s, with 90s and 2000s RPGs, so I'm not sorry, but I'm not sorry. And in terms of music, I like the music in Ryza a lot, but I think I prefer the one in Trials of Mana. The soundtrack is a little bit more memorable, I remember a lot of songs. They're both up there, you know, almost a tie in terms of music, but I don't know. Some of the themes in Trials of Mana are like so memorable and catchy, and they stay with me longer than the ones in Atelier Ryza. In Atelier Ryza, I can only remember the first two battle themes, and in Trials of Mana, I remember like 5 songs, you know. So I like it a little bit more. That's it, you know. To be completely honest, neither game stands out way more than the other for me. It's not like, oh, Ryza wins in story by a landslide or Trials of Mana wins in graphics by a landslide. No, this is why this episode was very interesting and it was such a close match, because he was like very even, you know. Anyway, I like both games a lot, but they aren't amongst my favorites. They aren't even in my top 50 favorite JRPGs of all time. But I like them, I appreciate them. But Trials of Mana wins for me, okay? That's my pick. That's it. Thanks for what? Angela wins. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Mm-hmm.